Hello, hello, hello. This is Corey Thompson from Dice Tower Dish, Above Board, blah, blah, blah.
And this is Stephen Bonacore, the Podfather of Gaming. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 411, and we're recording this on March 10th, I think, 2026. Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek. So, so Corey, my body has like no clue where I am. I've been getting chills, not because I'm sick, but because of the way your body gets cooler overnight. But so it's crazy. Now I am in Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes.
At the beginning, I got here yesterday, the beginning of Dice Tower West. You were supposed to come, but sadly you could not make it last minute. So I
Yeah.
carry on.
No, no, it's just so much stuff going on. Something had to go.
I
And
know.
I do apologize. I know I said on the podcast that I would be making it to West, but my schedule would be solid back to back for 2 months if I went to West.
Yeah,
And
absolutely crazy.
something had to go. And I can
Absolutely crazy.
understand your body not knowing what the heck is going on. You were a zombie last week
Yeah.
at GAMA because you came right from Sydney to GAMA in Louisville. You had no idea what was going on. And now it's just more of the same. Now you're in Pacific time, which only makes any residual jet lag worse.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But I'm gonna power through it, and I'm gonna power through this podcast because we have a lot of news to get to.
Absolutely.
It's a Gamma recap essentially episode. So
Oh,
let's
because all the GAMA news is coming out now.
yeah, it's all like
Uh,
but. So good. Tell me what's going on in your life. You mentioned all
yeah,
kinds of
I
cons and this
am.
and that.
I am back at what we affectionately call Shiloh, which is the house in the edge of Napa Valley in Santa Rosa. And I have a design team at the house. So this is Ben Rossett's local design team from Chicago, and they are doing a lot of play testing. And the guys were nice enough to say, talk about whatever you want. And so I got to see the third Fromage game. So Fromage came out, and then Fromaggio, which was Italian, and the
That's
third one. Uh,
excuse me. I'm sorry. Formaggio. Formaggio.
I've heard you speak German. I'm going to say Fromaggio.
Oh my God. Oh.
It rhymes with DiMaggio, the baseball player. Um,
Formaggio di Maggio. Yeah, it does actually. So we'll go with that.
the third one takes place in Spain, and so far it's been affectionately called Queso. And it looks absolutely amazing. At the
That's
same
awesome.
time, the team is working on another game, not in the Formaggio line, but using a similar rotating board that I am absolutely fascinated with. It is a Dutch auction game, and I love Dutch auctions. These are auctions where the value starts very high and drops over time until people
Yep.
jump in to buy it. It's a push your
Right.
luck auction. And the board has actual mechanics in it that when the board rotates at the end of a turn, little dials tick down the values. So
Nice.
the board has mechanically in it the Dutch auction. I also got to play the group's new pen and paper game called Bordeaux, and it is fromage on a piece of paper. No other equipment. This is not a roll and write. There's no dice. There's no cards. It is literally a book. You open it, you tear off a sheet, and you just play on the sheet. And it is so brilliantly designed. It is really, really amazing. This group has
This is
been
an
very
this is an
fun.
RPG.
No, it is a board game. It
Wow.
feels just like the board game Fromage, but all you
Oh my
need
gosh.
is the book, tear out the paper. And by the way, there's hundreds of sheets in this book, and they're all unique. But it is playing fromage. You just need a piece of paper, and it's just like, okay, it's your turn, go. It's I don't know how else to describe it. It is so good. It was announced already. There were testers that floated around as far back as Gen Con, and it is coming out soon. Of course, the group is here with games about cheese and about wine, and they're in Napa Valley. So we've done wine tastings and we've gone to fancy restaurants, and it's just been an absolutely amazing trip. They're here until tomorrow. and I'm really going to miss them. I hope that they decide to come back in future years. As far as conventions, I'm taking a little break during West, but then I am flying off to LyraCon in Portugal on March 23rd. So hopefully, if you're at LyraCon, it's mostly going to be our European listeners. I understand that. It's my first time, and I'm excited. It's going to be
I mean,
amazing.
we seem to have as many European listeners as American listeners, so I
If
think
not
that's great that you'll
more,
be able to wave the flag out there.
I absolutely love the demographics we have because I keep getting caught on my own internal bias. I keep saying something and then I'll have a listener say, well, that doesn't really apply in Europe. And I'm like, of course it doesn't. I should know that. I absolutely love just the variety of listeners we have. It's amazing.
Very cool. And is that all? That's pretty good.
That's what's been
Okay.
going on here. And I know
Okay.
you've done nothing and never travel and just sit at
No,
home
never,
and
nothing.
read
Um,
boring books about economics.
so Corey and I get to talk some more like later today, right? We're going to be
Oh
doing
yeah,
the One Ring second edition
yeah.
from all points across the country, which is kind of cool. So we're really enjoying that. Uh, and the D&D 5e game is going to start up again today, tomorrow
We
rather,
have a news story about that,
about the D&D 5e campaign.
about D&D 5e. It's our
Oh,
last
yes, we
news
do
story. I
about
put it in
5e.
last minute
That's right. I saw that you put it there. We'll be
just
talking about
for
that.
you.
So so even though I'm traveling, it's kind of hard. I mean, it's easy and hard because the nights you want to keep kind of, go out, meals and stuff. But like since we're 4 hours off, 3 hours off from the East Coast, it works out pretty well. So I'll be getting in some role playing here while I'm at on the Pacific time. Um, we're gonna have a GAMA Expo recap, which I just got back and Corey mentioned already. So we're gonna talk about some GAMA Expo news and drama coming up, and after Dice Tower West, where we'll do a recap of all the interesting stuff that happened at Dice Tower West, including playing my new game. Uh, we'll then I'll be doing all kinds of extra traveling as well after that, but I'm not going to get into it right now. So let's move quickly to the event deck. All right, Corey.
Ooh,
So, ICV2 only covers the most important releases of games, right? You know that. They don't put every new
can't
announced
believe
game,
you're
only the
doing
most
this.
important ones. So what showed up literally this morning on ICV2, and it's Gamma Expo News.
Oh my God.
This is Gamma Expo News. All of the next thing is Gamma Expo News. And Office Dog reveals new Lord of the Rings game, Circle of Conflict, on ICV2. Office Dog revealed Circle of Conflict, a new Lord of the Rings game, which will hit retail November 6th. In this game, players take charge of the Free Peoples and the Shadow as the fate of the Third Age of Middle Earth hangs in the balance.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
armies
yeah,
will face off
yeah.
in asymmetrical combat in an attempt to control the One Ring. The goal of the game is for players to manage both sides of the war, all while outwitting the enemy on their flanks. The game features dice management that shifts the balance between good and evil throughout the game. 2 to 4 players, and you can play with any number of players if you have multiple copies of the game. Ages 14 up plays in 60 to 90 minutes. 49.99. They don't mention Jeff Engelstein or Stephen Bonacore, which is a little bit disappointing, but that's
Well, I'm gonna say the most important person in this whole publication is Brianna Woodward.
oh, absolutely.
She's creative director for Office Dog, runs Look and Feel, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous title. I just want that out there.
Right. Well, thank you for that. And yeah, Bree, you were amazing. Thank you for all the hard work on getting this game to its conclusion. We will be playing it here at West on the Hot Games table, but hopefully not the whole weekend. So I got
That's
to do other things
exciting.
today.
You'll have such a good time.
I will, I will. So other, Gamma Expo news, actual real important stuff that came out of Gamma Expo. First thing is that the number of attendees was 3,827. That's up 18%, 577 more over the last year.
Yeah.
I spoke to Nicole Brady, the president of the board, and she mentioned that they've had so many new members join over the last like 6 months that it's been wonderful. So a lot of them, of course, showed up and they were very excited about it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Um, One of the things that happened there, and this is on the Gamma drama side, news slash drama side,
Yes.
they had a meeting of the membership. They do that every year, I believe, at both Expo, Gamma Expo, and Origins, both of which are run, of course, by the Gamma organization. And they were bringing up a voting. They were trying to get a vote on proposed bylaw amendments. Um, this was postponed while the board reviews feedback. Now, subsequent to this happening on one of the days there, Gamma released a statement. Now, I was not there, which means I will not report on the problems that occurred, but the statement that they released says a lot. Gamma apologizes for board members' unprofessional behavior at the board meeting. Corey, I don't know if you have the email
Yeah.
newsletter up. If you want to read a few lines of that, that's fine. Otherwise, I can summarize it.
I don't have it up this
Oh,
second, but I did read the letter. It's a very nice letter.
yep,
There was talk all around Gamma that essentially a board member uh became a little hostile and a little aggressive towards the attending audience while there were very active discussions about changes to the bylaws, specifically about quorum and things like
quorums.
this.
Yep,
Um, and so Gamma released an apology letter. I have it up here. The annual membership meeting held on Monday, March 2nd at Gamma Expo 2026 was meant to be a free and welcoming discussion between Gamma's membership and its board of directors. During the meeting, discussion on changes to the bylaws became heated, and there were members of the board of directors who were rude and disrespectful to the membership who came to the event to voice their concerns. This was out of order, unacceptable, and should have been shut down immediately.
right. That's very
We,
important, that
the
last part.
members of your board of directors, apologize to all our members. We pride ourselves in serving Gamma's members and advocating for our industry. Unfortunately, on Monday, that passion manifested in a way that was unbecoming of a board. So they apologized for not coming out with this letter sooner, but wanted to discuss as a board what happened, what to do, how to deal with it. They
Right,
also, because of this, have postponed decisions on the
right,
actual topic that was being heatedly discussed
right,
to try to reintroduce it later in a more professional manner. They also
right.
left an opening if anyone who is a member of Gamma is specifically dissatisfied with the leadership or the board, there's emails to directly address it and have someone to talk to.
Someone to talk to, and there's going to be new elections for certain seats because the seats are not forever seats. They're
Of course.
sometimes 1, sometimes 2 years, I think, usually. So there'll be more voting on new members. So if you're interested in helping out, please, and you're a Gamma member
Yeah.
or want to join, please do. And, if you're a professional, then please help out. Now, I was not there. Corey, you were not there. Why were we not there? We have other things that we want to do at these shows, whatever those things are. So since I was not there, I will not address any given person. I will not address any given
I will
uh,
say that both of us spoke to several people who were there firsthand.
right.
So we're
But
1 degree separated. However,
sure, well,
that's
one degree
not an
separated. We are
appropriate thing to make direct comments on.
right. We are very sure about who the problem or problems were
And we
because
don't need to go. This is not
I,
about blame. This is
no, I'm not
about
going to
where
do
to
that,
go
Corey. But what
to
I'm going to say
next.
is, what I'm trying to say here is that I, if you can't act like a professional and you're going to insult the rest of the members of Gamma who are sitting there trying to get educated, then get the hell off the board.
Let's just say that the take-home message here is this was the action of an individual, not an action of GAMA as
Yeah,
an organization. And I
100%.
feel that this response from GAMA is fully appropriate in a situation that honestly is embarrassing to the organization. This is
Correct.
a very good, very appropriate response.
There was a great response they put out. I hope it gets corrected in various ways so that this can never happen again. And
Yeah,
I want to mention, because this is the end of our Gamma segment, that one last time I wanted to say, we talked about it last week, the show was great. The energy,
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
spirit, the business that was done. I mean, literally, it was by far my best time at Gamma. And I mean, I just did business, personal business,
I love
business,
Gamma. Gamma
play to
is
Z.
one of my very favorite shows. The
Hey,
social networking interaction, seeing games being pitched, prototypes, it is an amazing show. So I absolutely love Gamma. Um, I also just want to throw out there that Gamma as an organization does have a little bit of a rocky history, and this I feel is the best Gamma we've had ever, as far as who's running it, how they run it, and how the shows go. It looks like we might have lost Stephen briefly. Networking problems at hotels.
can you hear me
You're
now?
back. You're
Yeah.
back now.
Yeah, no, I heard the gist of what you said. This is, yeah, we're on
Good.
hotel Wi-Fi, which is always sketch. But let's go through. We're still in the news. Let's move on. Again, Gamma Expo, fantastic. Thank you to those who do the organization of it. It was
Of course.
fantastic. Um, so on tariffs, we haven't heard talk about tariffs in a while, right?
Uh,
So the Supreme Court, I'm sorry, right, the Supreme Court had ordered, had stated that the tariffs that were imposed were unconstitutional. So now, what's going to happen to the collected tariffs? And what that is as follows, which was on ICV2. Corey, do you want to take this one, or I can do it?
yeah. So ICV2 has an article, Court orders tariff refunds. Customs responds, and states sue over the new tariffs. Because immediately after the tariffs were found unconstitutional, the president said, well, I'm reimposing tariffs under a different ruling. And
Right.
that will lead to probably another lawsuit about whether this second reason for tariffs is unconstitutional. It's going to go on and on. So the
Right. But
article went on to say
yep.
there was a lot of activity in tariff litigation, and we rounded up here. In the most significant event, Judge Richard K. Eaton of the U.S. Court of International Trade has ordered U.S. Customs and Border Protection to issue refunds to importers that paid duties under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act tariffs. That was the reasoning for the set that was declared unconstitutional.
Yep.
And those tariffs were enacted last April. Those tariffs were ruled illegal by the U.S. Supreme Court last month. The judge issued the order, which applied to all importers charged under the illegal tariffs. So they've said the money needs to be given back. But this is no small matter. And I am skeptical of whether this will be able to be imposed. The article goes on to say the CBP statement identified the volume of refunds involved, which total a mind-boggling number, 166 billion with a B, uh,
Right.
involving 330,000 importers.
Right.
So
So,
it's a ridiculous amount of money that needs to be managed.
right.
And it's hard to imagine how it'll happen.
The good news for any importer in this industry, and that's mostly publishers, but other people as well, and other industries across the world, is that it's like standby. CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, will be creating a process that you will then fill out the form and you will get the money that you paid refunded to you. I believe the date that they said they'll have it by was the end of this month, that they'll have it in place. So just
Yeah.
stand by. Don't start trying to do it. GAMA's keeping an eye on it too. So if you're a member of GAMA, you're going to get
Would
even
you
more
like a breaking news special report on this subject?
breaking news. This is Board Games Insider breaking news. Corey Thompson reporting.
Nintendo of America has sued the US government over tariffs. This is March 9th from gamesindustry.biz, but this article is on a lot of websites today. Nintendo of America has filed a lawsuit against the US government over the quote, initiation and administration of unlawful trade measures, unquote, last year. In a complaint obtained by this website, lawyers for Nintendo are asking the U.S. Court of International Trade to refund the tariffs paid with interest since they were imposed. They're also putting in their lawsuit that the release of the Switch 2 was adversely affected, and they are suing for damages.
So this is literally breaking news. Thank you for finding that. It's amazing. And this is
What I do.
obviously somebody outside of our industry
Well,
saying, you
right
know
on
what?
the edge. This is gaming. This is tangential to our industry.
Sure, but it's not the importation of physical board games or role-playing games or things like that. I'm
Video
trying to
games,
say
man. Video games.
everybody is impacted, and Nintendo America, with very, very deep pockets, is going to go try to hit the U.S. government hard in this lawsuit, which, applause. That's really, really good. All right, let's keep going. We have so much news here. We have two more important rules articles, two more articles of
You're
news.
a gamer.
Yeah. So the next one comes off of our friends at Board Game Wire, and it talks
Yes.
about the Spiel in Essen. They are now going to add the mythical Hall 8 into the mix of all the halls because
Yeah.
they're getting such demand for exhibitors to be there.
Now,
Um,
this article is really fascinating for two reasons. It gives the exact amount of hall space, and it in square meters they give it. It's 81,200 square meters, which equates to over 850,000 square feet. The other thing is
and
it directly compares exhibit space between Gen Con and Essen. And everybody always wonders, oh, I haven't been to Essen. How does it compare to the exhibit space at Gen Con? It is 50% larger.
Yeah, it's always like in your head, you just can't figure it out when you're walking and wandering. You feel that it's so much bigger. Now we know for certain that it's 50% larger. Of course, give Gen Con its fair due here.
Oh,
Gen
yeah.
Con has a gazillion more square feet
Gen Con
of
is much more than exhibitor space,
right.
whereas Essen
It,
arguably is only
only
exhibitor space.
only exhibitor space with a few events that they run around it. Here's my favorite portion of this whole thing. The Americans cannot wrap their head around the metric system. They just can't do it. So they always figure
Uh-huh.
out ways of measuring things in non-metric. So it says covers an area of 81,200 square meters, like you said, which is larger than 15 American football fields.
It's
So they
insane.
have to figure out something else that we could say, oh yeah, wow, that's pretty darn big.
So the Mesa at Essen is mostly 8 exhibit halls that are all connected.
Right.
The Hall 8 has in past years been used as a loading zone. It's where people queue up and get in line, get ready to go in. It's where people will wait, especially if the weather is inclement and things like that. And you don't want to wait outside. Now they're going to be doing the queuing and waiting in a basement hall. What's the number of the basement hall? It's officially 1A.
1A. So
1A.
the main entrance hall is considered hall entrance. I don't even think it has
There's a
just
foyer.
the foyer. It's called like the main foyer. And that's not for exhibiting, but they have something underground that they think they call hall 1A. And it's
Last year, the
never,
media presentation
yeah.
was in Hall 1A.
And they'll never use it for exhibit space. Essen came out because the ceilings are not high. The ceilings in Essen are tremendous. They're 20, 30 feet tall. It's a huge
Yeah.
space. Um, So they're gonna stage people probably in the foyer and then in that special hall 1A space before
They're
they come
definitely
in.
going to use the basement space for staging people
Right.
because this, as far as I know, this is the first time Hall 8's ever been used for actual exhibiting.
Yes,
Um,
this is the first time. And they're increasing the total space by 30%.
it's
That is
insane.
staggering amount of increase. So if you think
I'm
the
looking
industry is
forward to
dead,
it. I'll definitely be there.
yes, I will definitely be there too. All right, Corey, you found this one too, which is really, really cool. It comes off
I
of Polygon.com.
So finally, our last story. This is our D&D story we alluded to at the very beginning. So Polygon has reported that we finally have an official name for Dungeons and Dragons 2024 rule set update. So we have had in the past first edition D&D, AD&D, second edition, we had 2.5, we had third edition, we had all these number sets. So fifth edition was released quite a while ago, but in 2024, there were official updates to the fifth edition rules. They are now officially called 5.5. So everybody's been colloquially talking about D&D 5.5. It's official. If you're using the new books with the new rules from last year, it is edition 5.5.
Yeah, or D&D Beyond, they've implemented it there as well. It's uh it was a minor update. I would say it's even in the grand scheme of like, is it really like halfway to the next thing? No. But if you recall back in the day, they had D&D 3 and then they released D&D 3.5. So they're kind of using that tradition
Yep.
of how to name things. Why didn't they do it from the beginning? I don't
Well,
know.
they were playing around with what they were actually going to do, and they played around with a living rule set that was going to be on a subscription model. So in 2022, it was announced that there was going to be a one D&D initiative that kind of led into this. But then we had all sorts of issues with the open gaming rules, with the
Yep.
initiative, with the
Yep.
orc rules, the ORC, and they backed off a bit. So now, what everyone was anticipating to be sixth edition rules was actually an addition to five. And
Right.
so five came out in 2014. And then last year they did this rules addition with new books.
2 years. But yeah, 24. They
24. Oh, it
and
is 26.
yeah,
In
it was gonna
24, they did the new
right.
books.
They were gonna call
Um,
it. Remember they were gonna call it one D&D. Yeah,
yeah,
one
the
D&D,
one D&D initiative. Yeah.
which I thought made more sense, I guess. But this is cool. I mean, I name what's in a name. We're playing a cool game, and that's all that matters.
We have an official name now. That's
Now
really
we have a name. A
what the story
name.
is. It is 5.5.
All right, Corey. Let's move on to strategy and tactics. All right. Our buddy, Kirk W. from Germany. He's at the corset maker.
He
Yes,
is actually a corset maker. He's
he
a
makes
wonderful
women's
guy.
corsets.
And he's good at it. He's
Oh,
an amazing dude.
truly professional corsets. He's a very nice guy, and he gave me some pictures, which I was a little bit shy to take because I'm like, you're giving me pictures of women in corsets. Okay, but I'm giving these directly to Paula if she would like to order any corsets.
It is an art form, and it is
It
an
is.
art form that I think is demographically more represented in our industry than in other industries.
Yeah.
So I think it's great.
Oh, it was very cool. And Kirk says, what is your preferred way to learn a game? Rulebook, video, an excellent game teacher,
Like
app
me.
assistance like Dized or other? Do you prefer to be taught a game or teach one? Corey?
Uh, so I do have strong opinions on this. I'm going to recuse myself from discussion of Dized because I am one of the owners of Dized. So obviously, I think Dized is an amazing platform.
It is an amazing platform.
My preferred way to, I would love to be taught by someone who's good at teaching a game.
Yeah.
But I have strong opinions on that as well because I really enjoy teaching games. So to jump to the final question, I prefer to teach a game than to be taught. I think I'm pretty good at it. But my way to learn a game is usually to run through a demo or a video, and then go back to the rule book,
Yeah.
which just nails those rules in my head. If I
Yeah.
start with the rule book, it doesn't catch my attention and I don't get sucked in and it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
But if I start with a little knowledge, then
Right.
I want to go to the rule book
Yeah.
to really figure out all the details.
Yeah. My preferred way is always to have someone who is an excellent teacher. We're going to say excellent, not just a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Someone who really, really knows the game and they teach me the game. And that's and we're going to say it for the record, that's considered lazy. Yes, I'm lazy when it comes.
No, I don't think that's lazy at all.
Because I don't really like to pick up a rule set and try to learn it myself. I just don't. I'm just not good at that. I learn. It was in college too. I learn by someone showing me, and then I got good. And I'm a very good teacher once I know the rules
Oh
cold.
yeah.
If I know the rules cold for something, I'm going to teach you that game. It's going to stick. My darling girlfriend Paula now kicks my ass at Terraforming Mars every freaking play. It's like she's like a
Good.
savant
She
now,
should.
and I taught her the game, and I can't beat her. I just can't beat her. I beat her Arc Nova once in a while, but I can't beat her in Terraforming.
I love
Anyway,
it.
I also will for big games that I really want to know. I'll find a really great video and I'll watch that through, and then I'll look at the rule book. And I think you said that too, because the video gives you those high levels, and then the rule book will give you more details. So that's kind of the way I'll do it there. And by the way, Dized, I'm not saying because you're a part owner there, Dized is an amazing platform for those publishers who do take of its offerings.
Yeah.
We at Play to Z did a fantastic how to play for Animal Rescue Team, and
Oh,
it's on
the
Dized.
that tutorial is really fun. I
Yep.
play tested it moments before it went final in Helsinki and was just amazed at how well it taught.
Right. He's also asking, do publishers, because a lot of publishers are hiring people to make rules explanations. Do you think some publishers who do this worry less about the quality of their rule books because the video exists? No, I wouldn't say that at all. I
That's an
think
interesting angle,
I
though.
I don't
I
think I
do
don't
think
think
a
so.
little bit of the pressure is off rule books. I do.
I don't, I still think that most people are going to grab a rule book before
Yeah.
they go to videos. It's in the box. It's right here.
And
I'm going to
publishers are
go read it.
very aware that a bad rule book can hurt your game.
Absolutely.
So you want the best rule book you can do. But I do think a little of the pressure is off of rule books with things like uh, how to play videos, which can be advertised on the box, or Diest, which can be advertised on the box.
Right. Marcus Shepard, who's at Marcus_Shepard, he says, since Steven is involved in the World Series of Board Gaming, he might know this. Since its premise is people playing games for money, that's not exactly it, and I'll correct that.
It's
Is
legally
the
not
World
the
Series of Board
premise
Gaming
because of
regulated?
this question.
What's that? What's
It's
that?
not legally the premise because of the rest of this question.
Right. Is the World Series of Board Gaming regulated under gambling laws? So I'm going to take it. I'm going to make this something to address first. So the short answer is board gaming is a game of skill. You in your house, you can have a poker tournament as long as the house is not raking. Raking means as the money is thrown in, you take some of it out and the house keeps it. As long as the house is not raking, poker is a game of skill and can be played in your home without any problems. I can't guarantee if that's 50 of the states, but it certainly is in a great number of states. Okay. So the World Series of Board Gaming is not people playing for money. It's people playing in a competitive environment to try to win something. And very few people do actually win money. If you win under several rounds, say of let's pick Wingspan, right? You get the first table, Wingspan, you win. You move to another table, you win. You might move to the final table at that point. I think it'll be 3 tables. If you win that, you win the ring. There are only 16 rings. The ring is worth a lot of money. Something on the order of $6,000. It's a gold ring with the World Series of Board Gaming logo and the
It looks like
year
a
and,
Super
and the
Bowl
game
ring.
you won. So all of that is, to get around to not come into having any issues playing in Las Vegas just make sure that we don't have any issues. But in many, many states, we could do this. Vegas has got a lot of space, so that's why it's in Vegas. That's one reason. Cheap space in Las Vegas. Oh, fun fact, the World Series of Board Gaming is played at the same location as the World Series of Poker. Why? Space. Cheap space that we can have to run our event.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the interesting thing here is you keep saying it is a game of skill, and there are some legal issues that you can't gamble on a game of skill. And it would be a bad move anyway, because someone who is exceptionally skilled could just run away with everything. So gambling traditionally cannot include skill.
I think that's wrong, Gloria, because it's well, I mean it's hard. We'd have to go look it up, get a lawyer, and
Mm.
all kind of crap. But if poker is the perfect example, right? Is there luck in poker? Yeah. If you give me two aces every hand, I'm probably going to beat you. But you don't. So there's obviously a luck element in poker, but the skill element in poker will always beat the luck element, and you're allowed to play
What
poker in most states. So that's the thing.
poker
Anyway,
grandfathers into gambling?
all right. In general, do you know how many board game tournaments which offer prizes, cash or otherwise, are handled? Do you know how board game tournaments which offer prizes? Does the choice of game matter? For example, Flip 7 tournaments would, by all accounts, be almost entirely random, but a brass tournament would reward the most skilled player. So, I mean, we can look at other uh, big tournament events, and that would be like the World Board Gaming Championships that go on in these days south of Pittsburgh every year. It's been going on for 30 years in various places
Yeah.
in the Northeast in that area. They give away something very small. It's a piece of wood. They with your name on it, kind of thing.
It's a
It's
plaque, an award.
it's a plaque. It's an award. That's all you get if you win, which is cool. And they have 100 tournaments, and then you're memorialized for the rest of your life in their books. Um, so the answer is no. You can do these things. People win. They win small things in other places. PresCon is another biggie that does this. All of them use the same type of idea.
There's
Yeah,
also like the extensive amount of play to win things in our industry. A lot of conventions will have donated games that
sure,
specifically, if you play it, you can win the game.
sure. I mean, nothing different there, right? You're winning something. And he does say, do any of you ever play for money? For me, when there's money involved, it stops being a game, so I stay far away from this, which is fine. I mean, competitive gaming is not for everyone, so I don't tell everybody you have to go to the World Series. If you are a hardcore core competitive gamer, you should check out the World Series. I play poker, not as much these days, but I love playing poker. In poker, you really need to play for money. So I used to run a tournament in New Jersey because I had a lot of space in my basement. It was a full finished basement. I used to run a up to 40 player tournament in my basement. So I had 4 tables, condense, final table. Winner would take it was like we would do like a first place, second place, third place. It was like 50% of the $20 buy-in, really small to the first place, 1/3 to the second place, and 1/6 to the third place. And it was a great fun time.
Yeah, I'm not really a play for money kind of guy. One, I'm not very skilled. I like to play games and explore and have fun with them, but
Yep.
I don't win very often. And I gambling is just not my thing.
Eric Losevich. Uh, and I know that that's fairly close to right. He's at Eric Losevich on Board Game Geek. I know it's pretty close to right because
Those
he
Vicks.
gives the pronunciation here, and he said Ignacy would know. Uh, Losevich. I like it. I like it. Losevich, whatever. I'm going to go with that. Just heard episode 396, and he posted this at the end of November 29th, 2025.
Yeah.
Posted November 26th and mentioned a story about Germany sales that noted drop in brick and mortar store sales. I'd be curious if that is just a drop in friendly local game store sales or if that includes big box retail. Is that an indicator of a wider trend? So I don't remember the story we reported on, of course,
Yeah.
but in general, um, when we talk about retail sales, we do lump like Amazon into retailer sales. because anybody can sell on Amazon. So they are part when a distributor sells to
It's
friendly local game stores, they also sell to Amazon,
yeah.
or you set up your own, and all of that would be lumped in the same
Now the
category.
big box usually has a separate distribution system, and we usually get our numbers from the big board game distributors. So the standard distributors don't necessarily do the Walmart, Barnes and Noble big box stores. So that is a little separate. Anecdotally, just speaking to people in the industry, big box sales are down. And they've always been a bit of a gamble. Big boxes, traditionally, a big, huge store like Walmart or Target will order a huge number of units. They'll put them in, but then you have a buyback condition that if they
Yeah,
don't sell to a level that makes Target happy, they will force you to buy back the inventory.
which is very, very painful for small publishers, but that is true.
It's a
Barnes and Noble
gamble,
does
it's a
that as well.
risk.
Yeah, huge risk
Yeah.
for
You
small
might
publishers.
sell jillions, which would be more than you'd ever be able to sell on normal routes. But you might print jillions and then have to buy them all back.
He mentions a French YouTube channel that talked about smaller friendly local game stores in France are having a hard time competing with big box retailers who are getting into the board game market. Now that's interesting because normally the big box stores, you mentioned Walmart and Target, those are the big ones in the US at least.
Here, yeah.
They're usually selling at full retail. So are the local game stores usually, but they don't discount quickly or anything like that. So I think this is a standard complaint that, come to us to buy the game, which I get it. And, I recommend wholeheartedly that anybody who listens to us who knows the industry, try to get to your local game store. Try to buy there. They're offering you service. Maybe if you're playing things there, try to buy something there when you're
Yeah.
there.
I think also that there's not a direct competition between big box and local game stores. Big box will carry lighter games approved by big box more towards mass. Uh, and a lot of the heavier niche strategy games will never make it to big box. There just aren't the numbers or the audience.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a different market. So there is competition, but it's not a strict 100% they both sell all the games.
Right. Right. All right. The next one is from Steph. I didn't notice Steph has been posting in the guild. So thank you, Steph, for starting to come and talk to us. Or I assume she, it could be he, at Imrail. And this is from the last day of November. So the next question, which we may not take, will be from December. So we're catching up. Yeah, post your questions. You're going to get them answered. Um, any chance for guest developers or publishers to make an appearance on the podcast?
Ooh,
Uh, so there's several questions here. So let's start with that. Corey, answer this question categorically.
it's a small chance. We have on occasion when there's a really big story brought in a guest,
Now,
but it's not a usual thing. We've done it, I'm going to say maybe twice a year.
so we don't bring them on the main feed. We then do a special thing and we put it on my channel. We don't
Well,
normally
we
create
brought
another
Scott
podcast.
Morris in a few years ago
I think
because
that
of the big buyout.
was that actually a Board Games Insider episode? I don't think it was.
Oh, I thought it was.
Well, maybe not. But so Steph, the thing
It's
is,
not a standard thing.
it's not a standard thing, and we have a very specific thing that we do here, right? We're giving you a little bit of background on us and what we're doing, of course, but then we're distilling the news for you, and then we're taking questions like this and all the other ones as well. We're not a podcast about bringing on guests.
Yeah.
So I think the short answer is this is just not going to be a focus now or in the
We
future.
had a guest at Essen last year. That was the other one that was prominent.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because it was sort of a drive-by guesting.
Yeah.
He was
And
great.
that's happened when we've been on a
Yeah,
live show. Someone walks by his friend of the channel. We often will get a couple questions and hey, do you love the show?
excellent. Yes, we will. I guess we will on occasion, very special times, but it's
Very
just
rare.
not something that's going to happen very much. They ask now, what is a mechanic you'd love to do and see with some experimentation with? So I guess
Oh,
what would we like to see and be riffed on that's out there? Interesting.
I'm yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but Dutch auction is one of my favorite mechanics. It does have room for play. There's a really interesting take on it in the Steffenfeld game Jorvik. And I think auctions like that can have a lot of variability.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm gonna, I'm not gonna mention that Lord of the Rings game, not mine, but the one that is my number one game, War of the Ring. I won't mention War of the Ring, but I mean, I just love some of the mechanics that were implemented in that game, and every time they happen, they're done just a little differently and very cool. And those mechanics are dice action selection and card driven, right? I love those things. Now those things are pretty solid in the wargaming world, but how about a Euro that, you get cards that are dual use and, you can use those
oh, multi-use
to do
cards
things.
are hot, and they have a
Multi-use,
lot of variability that can still be experimented with.
right, right, right. There you go. And I just love the fact that when you roll dice and you have a set of actions that you can use. And gosh, I didn't get this particular action that I needed. Maybe there's a risk mitigation.
Yeah,
Then
absolutely agree. And well, I think it'll come up a little later. One of the people who wrote into the channel talked about action selection and point action selection coming back, which I agree with. So I think we might have lost. Oh, you're back, Stephen.
I'm back.
You were out for a couple seconds.
Sorry for my cough.
Not a worry.
Are there any older mechanics you'd like to see a new or fresh version of? Older things that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, certainly Dutch auction, I think, because you don't see that very much at all.
I'm
Um,
going to call back an old, I believe Spiel winner was Pillars of the Earth, had a very
oh,
unique mechanism for bag building plus worker placement. And I think it was an excellent mechanism that I have not seen come back. And that's at least a decade old, maybe two.
I love that hand management is making a huge, huge, huge. I wouldn't even say comeback,
Yeah.
but like it goes back to Bonanza, right? The Uwe
One
Rosenberg
of the
original big
greatest
hit
card games ever. And my
ever.
very favorite mechanism, having a hand of cards that you cannot change the
You
order of.
cannot change the order. It is absolutely one of my favorites too, and it's as frustrating as heck. But you deal with it, and that makes the game so interesting. What
Was,
decisions do
yeah,
you make for
one of
when that
Uwe
happens?
Rosenberg's very first games, and still, I believe, his number one seller.
Oh, probably is, right? I mean, it's sold hundreds of thousands of units over time. I guarantee it. It's absolutely
Easy,
amazing.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. I think that's enough for this week. Let's get down to play testing.
Oh,
All right. So we had like what I told Adam Michaud when I saw him at the GAMA Expo, and he gave me this unbelievable beer. I noticed he did not give you Did he give you
he
marzipan? He
gave
did
me
not.
marzipan.
Oh,
That's my thing now.
oh,
Everybody listen.
yes.
Ignacy wants cookies, you want beer, I want marzipan.
The beer he
I
gave me
need a
was a
thing.
the beer he gave me was a Dungeons and Dragons D20. I forgot the style, but the style is ridiculous because it's a 20% alcohol beer in a
Wow.
large format bottle. This is not something you drink alone. You share this beer, and even better, you lay it down maybe for years before you drink it. It's one of those things. And beer enthusiasts know what I'm talking about. This I look forward to trying this, Adam. And we mentioned, by the way, we mentioned Adam like so many times this episode, including we took a question that he gave us for playtesting. And here's what that question was. Corey, do you want to read it? I got it.
I'll go ahead and take it.
All right.
So the question is, what newer mechanisms do you think are ripe for becoming a new genre of games? And the two suggestions were card marching, where a tableau of cards is all activated in a row. And this is happening in Wingspan, brought it back. And there's several games that do this. You could even include Concordia. And then the other one is what I like to call card salad, and you have a relatively rude term for it, big deck games.
Hey, hey.
And these are games that have an enormous pile of unique cards like Terraforming Mars, Wingspan, Arc Nova. So,
So we got a smaller number than usual because I posted it late, and I apologize for that. But
yeah,
we're
we
gonna we're
haven't
gonna
had too
it's
many
fine. We have, but
days.
we have enough to take some very interesting answers here. James Thompson, not to be confused with Thompson. Um,
There's wet
he,
Thompsons and dry Thompsons.
I,
It's whether they have P in them.
I can't even. And you think my names for mechanics are rude, and you talk about that. Okay, all right,
They are
fair enough.
rude.
I got you. He goes, if Boss Fighters QR is successful, I don't know the game. I imagine we'll see a spat of QR scanning games. Do you know this game, Corey?
I don't.
We have to look this up.
Boss Battle is uh, um, a Boss Battle is a video game retro themed version of it's out there.
It's
It's I
it's
think I
Boss
know what it is.
Fighters. Boss Fighters QR. Why don't you look that up while I finish this, and maybe I'll take another one, and then maybe we can talk
Yeah,
intelligently about
sure.
this. He goes, otherwise, I can't remember the last time I played a game with a mechanism I haven't seen before. At this point, I think it's about making innovative, improved combinations
Oh,
of
I
known
know this.
mechanics.
I know this
He goes,
game.
Henry, big deck games, he used the term, aren't they just tableau building games? No, not necessarily, because we're talking about 200 plus card games.
Yeah.
Yes, then there's a tableau builder that's part of it, usually.
Uh, so Boss Fighters QR is a 2025 release from Pegasus Spiel. It comes from Palm and Zach, who are a great design team. They've done just a ton of stuff. The mechanisms listed are action queue and card play, and it is a cooperative game with deck building, pool building. So
Okay.
I've heard a lot of good things about this game. I just didn't connect to the title.
That's interesting. So, well, yeah, we'll monitor to see if that becomes successful. And he continues with the earliest of the card salad or big deck. The earliest of the card salad games that he can think of is San Juan. I disagree with that, and I'll get back to that.
That
So
one was
this
a card game version of Puerto Rico, and I don't think it had the giant deck of
no.
unique cards.
And it certainly not only did not have a giant deck of unique cards, there was many, 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 many cards that were exactly the same on purpose. That's just that was the mechanic they were using.
Yeah.
You drew cards, you created sets, and you'd play sets of cards. It's my recollection. I haven't played it in many years. So he's saying not a new thing. Um, I'll go
Yeah.
down to Peter Haraldson. I
I
don't.
was just going to take that one. I like
Okay,
that
you can
one.
take it. You want to take Peter Haraldson? Go.
So Peter said, I don't think we've had a single mechanism like deck building come through since Dominion. It's been minor tweaks or combination of existing mechanisms, but not distinct enough to count as a new mechanism, for me at least. Card marching is the closest to a new mechanism, I think, but basically it's just engine building, which has been around a while. So two things about that. Engine building, I think, is too broad a mechanism. It's right up there with like card play. So
Yeah.
I think engine building does need to be refined down. Um, and I've said I think we are in a certain age of board gaming. I'm going to say in the early 2000s and 2010s, we had a huge amount of new mechanisms, and we had an age of exploring new mechanisms. Then we went into today's age, which I've called the age of hybridization, where we are combining two mechanisms to make a unique experience. And a lot of our top games of the past 10 years have been let's use deck building as a mechanism to drive something else in the game, like Clank, or let's use trick taking to drive
Right.
a 4X game, like Arcs. We have this combination of elements, which I think is And I'm not trying to demean it at all. We've gotten some absolutely amazing games out of that.
Very cool. Gavin Kenny from the UK, he's the designer, and he says, "You want me to give away all my secrets to play the Z? Uh, you should be pitching us some good. If you got the next thing, man, we'll do it with you."
I love
He says,
it.
"Seriously, these things come along very rarely. We had deck building in the early 2000s following Dominion, and then in the mid 2010s, we had Roll and Write, which, by the way, we can argue how innovative those things were. They were capitalized on specifically by Dominion and Ganz Schön Clever and all of the things that came after that. But what was the original Roland, right? It was Yahtzee. What was the original deck builder? Well, we had all the deck building
Oh,
of
there's
of
arguments.
Magic and things like that.
Well, yeah, Magic, it's arguable whether Magic is a deck builder or not. It is a deck construction game, and the game itself did not involve deck building. The preparation for the game did. And there's this big argument. Probably the first true deck builder was StarCraft, the board game, uh,
Yep, there you go. That's an
which
interesting one.
predated Dominion a little bit. But I do agree, Dominion is the foundational game that made deck building a thing.
Let's see what else we have here. We'll take a couple more. We have Elena. She says, "I'd vote for big deck games or card salad, whatever we want to call it, specifically ones with all unique cards. I love that each card is unique in
Yeah.
Wingspan, Terraforming Mars, Earth, and Arc Nova. The actions might be similar, but they are tweaked a little to make them unique. I love the idea that the combination of cards I played in a game will never be played again. Absolutely never be played again. That is very true, Elena. Or if it
Oh, because
is,
there's
what
so
is the
many.
probability? No,
And
there,
there's quite a few people bringing up cooperative trick takers, and I do think that has turned into a little genre of its own. The Crew was so good and so
yeah.
popular that it birthed a whole bunch of cooperative trick taking. And I think before The Crew, the whole idea of cooperative trick taking was just ludicrous. Like, how could you ever do that? Ryan Keane brought it up very well. I think cooperative trick taking started with The Crew, feels to be like a new established genre that designers are going to continue to explore. It feels very distinct to me from competitive or partnership trick taking, where the new games are still iterations of the old games like Hearts, Spades, and Bridge. Now, I'm going to say cooperative trick taking feels a lot to me like partner trick taking. I think it is partner where everybody is a partner. It is that skill set, but still a unique genre.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think it's a separate genre from partnership game because there's an absolute competitive element in a partnership game, a la Tishu
Oh, sure.
and Bridge and things like that. So, Corey, you of course have given us another great question.
Of course,
So
it's because I'm brilliant.
you are pretty brilliant, my friend. You are. So what have you given us this week?
This is something that I've been asking people about for a long time, and I'd like to actually do some statistics on it when we get answers. In a cooperative game, how often should the players win? Give a percentage of the time you think the players should win a cooperative game. Um,
And of
I've,
course, be controversial as
oh,
always.
sure.
So I
Uh,
have a very strong opinion on this, actually.
all right.
And the funny thing is, if you ask gamers, very often hardcore gamers say, "I don't want to win a cooperative game more than 33% of the time." They're like one third. They'll say one third of the time.
Sure.
And Jeff Engelstein did like a thing, and I don't remember how he did it, but he said gamers are lying to us. They really want to win more, like they want to win 50 or more percent because
Absolutely.
because it's on some level, this experience is not as good when you don't win. Having said that, I do want my cooperative games to be hard, but scalable. In the beginning, I want them
Yeah.
to be darn easy and I can win and get a good experience. And then I'm like, okay, let's add another epidemic card. If it's pandemic, for instance, it's a yardstick for us.
Uh,
I
uh,
really enjoy
yeah.
scalable cooperative.
Well, the joy of a game is in winning against unsurmountable odds. It has to feel unwinnable, and then you win. That is
Yeah,
the ultimate joy of a game.
I love that.
Part of the problem, though, is that the human brain does not understand probability. We just don't. And you get this a lot in the video game industry. By the way, I don't want to burst anyone's bubbles, but video games lie to you all the time. If you play a video game and it tells you you have a 30% chance of getting this roll, of winning, internally in the engine, they give it to you. They do not do 30% because 30% feels like you never win. And if they tell you you have a 90% chance of winning, people get pissed off if they miss because people feel that 90% means you always hit. So what they present to you on the screen in a, let's say, role-playing game, action game with a percentage, they lie. They actually will count how often you've missed
That's
and
awesome.
make you hit if they think you're going to get pissed off.
That's awesome. Yeah, controlling the win percentage is
It's
is
psychology. It's all psychology.
yeah, that's very cool. So, everybody out there, what do you think? Please go to the Guild on BGG and find our playtesting thread that I'll create at some point, or if Corey's smart enough, he could do it finally this
I
week.
don't know how to do that.
All right, I'll do it later. I just don't want to do it right now. Uh, and post your answer to this question, and we'll probably take it next week. In the meantime, the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. Do you want to be part of this podcast? You can. Just go to our guild on Board Game Geek, make sure you remember, ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, answer our question to you from the playtesting segment, and do this and post in the right forum in the guild, or we'll never see what you're doing, and help us make the podcast even better by doing so. Interact with us directly on social media. We'll be talking to each of us. Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube. It's all the same handle. It's at Board Games Insider, Portal Games US, Podfather Gaming, Dice Tower Dish, Play to Z Games, Above Board TV. Choose whichever one you like, and you'll be hearing back from us if you do. We'd really love to see you in person at an upcoming convention. By the time you hear this, I will have already left Vegas, so I can't see you here, but hopefully I'll see you in the future. Corey, maybe you'll see him at
Lyricon,
Lyricon.
Portugal.
That'd be really cool if people saw you there. Um, and remember that this podcast was professionally edited by Jake Thompson. Thank you, Jake, for being part of the team. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro, the in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. And Corey, that brings us to the end of another amazing episode. Ignacy promises when we're in usual time that he will be back. I know I've said that in the past. Don't worry, Ignacy is not departing us. At least he hasn't told us. No, he'll be back next week. Corey, what do you
Awesome.
want to tell? I mean, after last week's story, that heartfelt story that I actually put
Oh, that
into
was so
the show
amazing.
notes. Yeah, it was so good.
I heard a really interesting fact that is cool and impossible to unhear, and I keep thinking about it. The classic song Roxanne from The Police.
Roxanne. Go ahead.
At the beginning of the song, Sting gives this kind of evil laugh at the very beginning. Everybody remembers the laugh. It's there because during the recording, he fell on the piano and made a blang. And if you listen, you can hear the piano slam and then the laugh. You'll
That's awesome.
never be able to unhear it.
That's a great anecdote. Now I got to go find it, and
I
you're saying
know,
it's right in the beginning someplace.
right in the beginning. And if you hear the laugh, you just missed it. Back up a tiny bit.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for that, Corey.
I
Non-board
I live to serve.
non-board gaming trivia.
That's what the end is for. See
That's right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
you
Bye bye.
later, everyone.